let's talk vulnerability. Now, it's such a loaded term, and it's certainly been popularized, and it's such a buzzword, especially with giants like Brene Brown talking about it and actually dominating on this field. But I think we need to get real here because I think we're getting it a little bit twisted. See, what I'm seeing a lot out there is fake vulnerability. It's all over social media, people spilling their guts for likes and sympathy. As women, we're caught in a mess of mixed messages. On one hand, we are told to be strong, to keep it together, to be the rock for everyone. On the other hand, we're supposed to be open and empathetic and emotionally available to everyone. No wonder we're confused about what vulnerability really means. Plus, not to mention, or let's mention, the fact that we have spent our lives not being fully honest as women, asking us to be vulnerable right off the bat. I don't think so. It's not going to fly. See, we are masters at deflecting, minimizing, and pretending everything is fine. So for us, it's not that straightforward. We end up in this no man's land between what we should say and what we want to say. Now, intellectually, we get it. We get it that vulnerability is powerful, but emotionally, that's a whole different ballgame. Hey, y'all, I'm Mick, and I empower women to BADE, to be anything and do everything. Today, let's dive into vulnerability, or the term I prefer to use, self-honesty. Now, you'll hear me interchange these terms, vulnerability, self-honesty, but the essence of both, it's about being real. It's about showing up with who we truly are. And when we embrace the right way to be vulnerable, we can truly transform our lives. See, when we use this correctly, not fake vulnerability, but when we use it authentically, it truly becomes a superpower for us. It's a tool for building deeper connections, fostering trust, and empowering others. But here's where we get it twisted. In our quest to be more vulnerable, we often get it wrong. Too many of us are doing the fake vulnerability, or like the fuckery of fakery that I like to say. We're using it to gain sympathy and validation. I mean, simply scroll through your feed for evidence of this. This misses the whole point. True vulnerability is about genuine self exposure, not putting on a show. Also, on a side note, I think something that we often forget is that we actually don't have to be raw and open all the time. Constant vulnerability can drain you if you don't set boundaries. So, the key in all of this is balance, knowing when to share and when to protect your emotional space. Vulnerability should be a conscious, intentional choice, not an obligation. But real vulnerability starts when you stop pretending and start facing the things that you've been hiding. It's when you say things out loud. I know it's such a scary concept, but it's really about being honest with yourself first, and then with the people around you, then with the people who get it. That's when the magic happens. But you first have to be true to yourself. And by the way, true vulnerability goes beyond talking about past struggles. Now, of course, your past struggles are part of your story and are important, but the true measure is about facing the discomforts head on that are happening now, the dreams that you're scared to chase, the conversations you're avoiding, admitting you're stuck in a job or a relationship that doesn't light you up anymore. Real vulnerability is admitting the failure you're in the middle of, the uncertainty that you may have, the things that you're unsure of, or how to move forward or feeling stuck. That's real vulnerability. Picture yourself talking about the big dream you're too afraid to pursue, or the tough conversation you keep dodging, or talking about feeling trapped in a situation you hate. For me, real vulnerability comes with exposing our fears, our dreams, and uncertainties, the raw, unfiltered parts of ourselves that we want to keep hidden, the things that really matter, but that I've been too scared to face and to say out loud. That's real vulnerability. The real big question is, can you be honest with yourself? Can you admit your feelings, your desires, and your fears? Can you do that to yourself before you share them with anyone else in the world? This is what I call self-expression, like the truest form of self-expression. It's not about laying bare every part of you all at once, but about taking small steps towards being real with yourself, gradually letting that realness shape your connections with others. And in order to BADE, in order to be anything and do everything, we have to be able to call bullshit on ourselves. We've got to be able to look in the mirror. We have to be able to start having serious self-reflections, one-on-one with yourself, and learn how to be vulnerable with yourself, like for reals. So with that in mind, here are a few tips for you to practice true vulnerability. Number one, you gotta call out that I am fine. It's such bullshit. How many times do you say I am fine when you're not? Be real about your feelings, even if they're messy. Number two, quit settling for good enough. Stop telling yourself you're okay with things just because it's easier than facing the truth. Ask yourself, is this really where I want to be? Number three, journal the ugly truth. And I mean it, write it down. Whatever you're avoiding, whatever dream you have, whatever you're scared of, whatever you're dodging, write that shit down. You have to release it. Number four, ask yourself the hard questions and be truthful. Are you giving it your all? Or are you half-assing it? Are you making excuses or are you facing your fears? Get real with yourself. Number five, get uncomfortable. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Embrace the discomfort and let it push you forward. That's where you propel forward. Number six, stop sugarcoating your emotions. If you're downplaying how you feel, you're not being honest. Call it out. If you're angry, say it. Jealous, own it. Number seven, hold yourself accountable. Listen, self-honesty is an ongoing process. You got to keep it real with yourself. You got to check in often. True vulnerability starts with self-honesty. It's not about being perfect or seeking validation. It's about owning your truth, facing your fears, and stepping into your power. That's how you BADE. That's how you be anything, do everything. And that's how you begin to transform your life. True vulnerability is about taking small but meaningful steps towards the future that you want by being open with the right people who will listen, understand, and support you. But here's the catch. It has to be real. You can't fake it. Okay? Vulnerability is about being authentic and genuine, even when it's uncomfortable. Are y'all seeing a theme here? In all my talks, it all circles back to self. It's an inside job. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this video hit home, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. How do you practice vulnerability in your relationships? I really want to know, what are your thoughts on this fake vulnerability that we're seeing on social media? I have so many questions, and I'm really curious to know what you think. Till next time, be true to yourself and BADE. Be anything and do everything.